Hey guys. Oh darn. I'm just now realizing forgot to get something to drink. I was gonna get some water. Maybe a little bit later. So, hey, what is going on? Good morning, everyone. Starting the stream off a little bit earlier than I have been doing as of late. A little bit earlier in the morning, but that's because I have a lunch date with my son. He is currently on vacation from his kind of preschool. So this week and also next week, it's gonna be kind of hard to work during the day. Gonna be just hanging out with him while he's on his vacation. So hello, good morning, Alex and Beck and Marius, Francisco, and who else is here? Uh, Ivan on Twitch. Definitely not Shar. Thank you for your subscription, Bacon Lord. Happy New Year, everybody. 2020 now. I was, I don't know, it doesn't, 2020 for me doesn't seem that strange, but I was saying to my wife the other day that it must be really weird for our grandparents to live to like see the year 2020. It's like, that would just, I don't know. If I was that old and just thinking, I don't know if I would, like, if I were them, I don't know if I would have ever imagined, like, to live to see the year 2020. Like, it just seems like pretty crazy. I have one grandma remaining, and my wife has one grandpa on one side and one grandma on the other side remaining. So, her grandma is going to be 100 this year. So it's 2020, and she's turning 100. It's pretty crazy. So, yeah, hope you guys are all having a good new year. As I mentioned in a post on, I think I posted on Facebook and on YouTube and Instagram a couple days ago that I've been on vacation. I was on vacation with my family for a couple of days. And then now that we're back from vacation, my son is still on his vacation. So, yeah, like I said, still just been kind of busy just hanging out with him, which is good. I've also been busy here working on my new desk space. If you guys saw the last episode of Gunpla Talk, I showed that I was working on building some hobby zone stuff, some desk organizing modular units. And so finished building those, and now I'm actually just in the process of installing those and reworking my whole space and doing a whole lot of just kind of spring cleaning here around in my room. So getting that other desk actually back to a usable state. And so, yeah, it's been pretty crazy. Yes, and yes, I did get my camera fixed. Sammy, my camera is fixed and back, and all the settings, everything was all reset. So I've been going through and like trying to fix some of the settings on that. But uh, I was planning to have a video posted for you guys last night, which would be the first part of my video about the Hobby Zone stuff. But I didn't. It was super late. I was busy, so I didn't end up finishing editing that video. So after this, later today, I'll finish editing that video and post that for you guys. Part of that video was shot with my returned camera. So yeah, so that stuff is really cool, and so it's nice to have kind of fresh look there on the desk, but still just have kind of a lot of stuff. It's most of the stuff's like all in there, but it's just like all the little random things. It's kind of hard to find places for, and so getting all that sorted out. And then, of course, I just have just kind of a bunch of stuff everywhere in here, so it's kind of messy. But let's get to building this kit, shall we? All right, so we're gonna build the two kits today, and we're gonna build the Eldora Brute. Not the Eldora Brute. We're gonna build the Seltsam first, simply because I unboxed that first, and it is before. Yeah, it must be. Yeah, it's before the Eldora Brute in the line. So we're just gonna go in order and build the Seltsam first. And both kits look pretty cool, but definitely between them, I'm more looking forward to the Seltsam. I think it's gonna be pretty cool. So, and also relatively simple. It's got two different arms, so can just like very easily just copy the construction of the arm, but the rest of it, I mean, is pretty easy. Revan asks, a 2020 room tour when? Well, I don't want to do a room tour just because it's basically just 3/4 of the room is just backlog. So there's nothing really much to see. Maybe backlog and is just kits, I should say. Backlog entails kits that are not built. A lot of the kits are built, just not painted, right? So I won't do a room tour in 2020, I don't think, but I will do a tour of my new working space once all the Hobby Zone stuff is all too. So like I said, the Hobby Zone video I'm splitting into 2 parts. The first part is just like kind of checking out the stuff, as sort of a review, kind of blank review, if you will. And the second part of the video I'll do once everything is all actually organized and all that. I'll show you guys like all the stuff actually in use, how I've got all my tools and supplies and stuff organized within the Hobby Zone stuff. So that will be probably just a couple days later. It's almost done. So, but also this past week was supposed to be the week for a Gunpla news and updates video. The Gunpla news videos are I keep forgetting, are now called Zaku News, which was my choice, by the way. It's not like you know how those videos are now moved over to the USA Gundam store, the USA Gundam TV channel, USA Gundam Stores channel, which is called USA Gundam TV. Anyway, those news videos are now moved over to that store, and changing the name was my idea, from Gunpla News to Zaku News. So it's not like I can't remember because it wasn't my idea to change it. It was my idea to change it, and I just keep forgetting to say the right thing when referring to those videos. Thank you, Ferda Berta, for your subscription on Twitch. Thank you. So anyway, I haven't really been paying attention to your guys' comments and or questions, but as always, guys, and I don't know if I saw Alex was there in the chat momentarily. I don't know if Alex is still around in the chat, and he'll help out with this, but just a heads up to all of you guys there watching live now. Just make sure if you have questions specifically for me, then just make sure you put that in, just tag me in your question, or just put it in all caps so that I can see it easily. That will be helpful. Thank you. Speedball Haro said, "Hey Zach Aurelius, have you seen Hathaway's Flash trailer, and what are your thoughts?" Yeah, I saw it. And are they calling it Hathaway's Flash, or are they just calling it Hathaway? Because it looks like they're just calling it Hathaway, which is kind of silly. But yes, I saw that. It's very short. I mean, there's not really much to see. The interesting thing that I thought about it was that they said in that trailer, they're like something along the lines of no one thought that the story could be adapted to anime. It's like, I don't know if I would put that in the trailer, because then people are gonna already have the suspicion like, oh, I don't know how good this is gonna be, because we already know that they knew that it was gonna be hard to adapt this. Does that make sense? This is kind of odd. Here for the backpack, the torso is already done. That's it. It's like just a couple pieces. But here for the backpack, this part needs to slot up through here, like that, and then you have this gray part that goes into the back, and this, basically the gray parts plug into each other on the inside here, but it's not wanting to plug in well, and it's kind of, oh, there we go, bending that plastic. So this gray part here, which holds the thruster rail, just make sure that's pushed up all the way as far as you can up into there, to make sure that that's actually going to connect well. And probably definitely going to want to glue in these thruster bells in place, because they're just plugged in by this tiny little peg. I have a feeling as soon as you're touching the kit and moving it around, you're just going to be accidentally knocking these off all the time. So definitely going to want to glue those. But that's it for the torso and center part of the backpack. The main backpack anyway. The other stuff that plugs onto the backpack is just weapons, so I guess that is the entire backpack pretty much there. I do like it though. Kind of interesting, simple design. Cool for the backpack. Alright, so let's see. A couple of questions here. What's your prediction on 2020 Gunpla releases? HGCE grunts finally see the light this year. Yeah, the Windom is an odd release. I definitely would not have guessed that. But I guess if they're going through, you know, making these alternate universe grunts, then, you know, they would come to Seed and Seed Destiny eventually, so it makes sense. I don't know, I guess, I don't know what I would have figured, because we are getting, well, I was going to say we're getting something from X, but we don't know for sure yet if or when we're getting the, what is it? Daughters? Is that right? Is that right? Yeah. What is it? Anyway, yeah, so I don't know. Predictions for this year, possibly some more Sentinel stuff, because we got the Deep Striker and the 1.5 version of the XS Gundam, and we're getting the Phaz. So maybe something else still yet from Sentinel. Water Wolf asked, "How are you?" I'm okay. I'm good. Very busy. Yeah. Vacation is always much harder time for me than just normal working time. Because I feel extra busy because I'm not working as much. Favorite Build Divers kit so far? I don't know. You're talking Build Divers or just Build Divers R? Because Build Divers R, my experience just with the couple of kits that I've built so far is that I really like them, just the R3 and the V2. But and this one is also looking nice, you know, so far. It's kind of hard to say, but just at the moment, I can say that it's looking pretty cool. And the Eldora Brute, I'm guessing, will also be pretty good, but just sharing the same pros and cons of the base kit. All the pros and cons of just the Death Army kit, where it's just kind of got a lot of seam lines and just kind of not the most solid kit, just straight out of the box. But it's a simple build and it's pretty nice, just in general, for being a very simple build. So the Eldora Brute, I'm not expecting to be great, but fine and cool if you like the design, basically. This one, though, I've got a little bit higher expectations for. I think this one is going to be pretty interesting. And I'm really excited for the other variant of this. What is it? The I can't remember the name. What's the name of the variant of this that's coming out? Tertium. Tertium Gundam, is that right? Yeah. The Tertium Gundam. I'm really surprised, number one, that it's not P Bandai, for one. And I mean, or just that they're making it at all. So it's cool they're making it, and it's really cool that it's not a P Bandai kit. So that's awesome. I'm looking forward to that. It's a cool variant of this, a little bit more on the Zeta side with the very Zeta style head. Or I guess it's just a head that's a little bit closer to the original Mark III head, sort of. And then hopefully at some point we'll eventually get a regular HGUC Mark III as well. But as some people pointed out, it took them a really long time to make the R Gyaga. The R Jarja after making the R Gyaga. So we could have the same thing happen again with this. Now there's the skirt armor. Never really been a big fan of this gigantic back skirt here that the Mark III has. It's sort of similar to like the Zaku 3. The Zaku 3 has a giant, super long back skirt. I'm not really into it, but there's that. Let's flip back. I'm building this a little bit out of order, but let's build up the head next. And I've got the stickers here because all the stickers are just for the head. All the stickers that we have, which is not that many, really only a couple of them. So that's good. So Sammy, to answer your question about the favorite Build Divers kit so far, I've only built a couple, if you're talking Build Divers R, and I've liked them, the two that I've built so far, well. I'm expecting to like this one, so I think it'll be cool. Do you think they're going to change the ending to Hathaway's Flash, you know, the whole execution? I'm not sure. I'm not really familiar with the story, actually. I've heard some details about the story. Like, I know what you're referring to about the ending, but I'm not sure if they'll change that. I don't know. What's your favorite mecha show? My favorite mecha show, if you can count it as a mecha show, then I would say Evangelion. But if you count that as a mecha show or not is questionable if you've seen Evangelion. I won't get into it, but other than that, I would say it's just kind of Gundam in general, of course. What's better for fixing parts, thin or extra thin plastic cement? I would say I usually use extra thin. Iron King, thank you for loving my videos. Marius asks, will you ever come to Germany? If I have a chance to go to Germany, I'm not against it. I would go to Germany. Thoughts on the Evangelion rebuilds? If you're talking about the Evangelion rebuild movies, I've got some thoughts. I could get into it. Hang on. So, hang on, I just wanted to answer this question here too. Bacon Lord asked, did you ever build one of the Eureka 7 kits by chance? No, I haven't. I've looked at them a couple times and thought about it, but I have not yet built one of the Eureka 7 kits. Have you ever watched Full Metal Panic? No, I've not ever watched Full Metal Panic either, actually. Okay, so thoughts on the Evangelion rebuild movies is that the first one, and I think I didn't really pay a ton of attention to, and this is going to get into spoiler kind of territory. I don't know if anyone's going to be too worried about Evangelion spoilers here, but if you are, then sorry, maybe come back in like 5 minutes. But they didn't, as far as I know, they didn't really advertise it as a continuation of the story, or but just like with the name, or they didn't kind of specify anyway, but just with the name rebuild, and with it obviously, especially in the first movie, being just sort of like a retelling of the anime, it seemed like it was just going to be a kind of remade movie version of the anime series, right? So the first one I enjoyed a lot because it's very similar to the original anime. So if you didn't know, then just watching it, you would think, oh, it's just a movie updated version of the anime. And that's pretty much all the first movie is. And the second movie starts to diverge a little bit more away from that. And so the second movie I also liked. But I felt like, because I was still under the assumption that this is just a retelling of the anime, and so when they got to the second movie, it seemed like they rushed like a whole big chunk of the series into one movie. And it's like, oh well, this is kind of, why are they like going through the story so quickly? It was kind of strange. And so, but I still liked it. And then we got to the third movie, and the third movie I actually saw in the movie theater there in Japan. And the first time I saw it, I did not like it at all. I was like, what was that? It was so different, and it was just totally unrelated to the series. And so I was not a fan when I saw it the first time, to be honest. And so, but by that time, like kind of after the second movie was when I was kind of figuring out, I guess, that it was not just a remake of the anime, that they were doing it as a continuation of the series, essentially. And so I understood that, and so the fact that the third one was so different did kind of make sense, but it was really strange, and there was parts of it that I really didn't like. I really, really did not like the cat version of Eva 2. That was so stupid, and I still don't like that, to be honest. Really didn't care at all for the cat form. And so, yeah, I don't know. But then after watching it, I think a couple more times, I started to like it a lot more. And I wouldn't say necessarily that I love it, but I do really like it a lot more now. And for me, kind of what really made me get it was the very ending of it. Because like the whole thing is just seems like it's just kind of a mess, and like you don't really know what's going on and all of that. But then the very end part just kind of made sense to me. Like, okay, I get it. When, let's see, hang on, sorry. When after like all the stuff happens at the end of the movie, and Asuka comes and gets Shinji out of the entry plug, and Rei is there too, just kind of hanging out as she does. And like after all of that, everything that happened, how much Asuka hated Shinji even before like the events of the third movie, like even at the start of the third movie. And then after all that, like at the end, she's like still wanting to take care of Shinji at the end, and still like not wanting to just kill Rei there on the spot. It kind of made me think like the second movie or the third movie really turned Asuka, really changed her character a lot, the ending. So I appreciated that, because I was never really a big fan of Asuka, really. I've never really, in the series and the movies or anything, never really been a huge fan. And I've always, too, held the belief that I think when you're watching the series, the movies, whatever, you're not supposed to be a fan of any of the characters. None of the characters are presented as characters that you should be a fan of. So, but at the end of the third movie, you kind of saw Asuka sort of taking up kind of the role of Misato at the end of the series. So kind of towards the end of the series, Misato was kind of like really sick of Shinji, but at the same time sort of getting to kind of understand him. And so I think you kind of start to see that happen at the end of Rebuild 3. If that makes sense. I don't know. That said, I haven't watched any of the movies in a couple years, so it's not exactly fresh in my mind. But I do like them. I'm looking forward to episode 4. I think probably I'm not going to like it at first, but then it's going to be the same thing like with episode 3, that it'll kind of take me maybe a couple watchings to really figure it out for myself. And that's the thing too. I think it's very open to interpretation. That interpretation that I just explained of why I came to like episode 3, other people might not see that at all and might not like the aspects of it that I liked or whatever. So people could very likely disagree with me on that. But I think it's open to interpretation. But yeah, I'd say that's my thoughts on that. Really hated how Misato blamed Shinji for the third impact, even though she encouraged at the end of 2. Yeah. yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of things. It's just very different. And so if you're a big fan of the original series, then I don't know, it's easy to understand why some people are not a fan of Rebuild. So let's see here. We got this part which goes into here. Little beam cannon there on the front of the leg. Think you will ever get the third-party RG XN riser parts? Amatsuo, probably not. Probably won't get those RG parts. Grave Kebab, how's it going? Is this kit any good? Now, is the giant hand not posable? I haven't got to building the giant hand yet, but yeah, I can tell you it's not very posable. And so far the kit is fine. I've only built, just the main body here so far. But yeah, so far it's nothing really too special. Pretty standard high grade. It's not to say that it's not a cool design, which I appreciate, by the way, standard high grade or not. If it's a cool, if it's a cool design, then I like it. You got these parts. You got a sandwich here between the lower leg. And the nice thing about these parts is that the lower leg and the joints looks like you should be able to separate everything without having to worry about the seam lines too much, which is good. And let's see. I'll show you here in a moment. Get this part together. I was curious if there was going to be much of a leg under here. You have this, there's like a kind of a bunch of armor built up around the lower leg. And I was wondering how much you're going to be able to, if you were to take that off, how much leg there would be inside there, and there's just not. If you're not going to have this armor parts here, there would just be no lower leg at all. But what was I going to say here about this? Something... Brandon, it's the first time watching me live. Well, welcome. Big hype for the Mark III. Let's hope for good 2020. Well, the announcements that we've got for 2020 so far are pretty good. So I'm hopeful. I think 2020, like 2019, is going to have a lot of great releases. In 2019, we saw a lot of great kits coming out from Bandai. A lot of things I didn't expect to see. And so that was really good. Like, just think of all the Advance of Zeta stuff that we got out this past year. It's all been P Bandai, of course, but did you ever expect to see high-grade Wound Ward or Hazenthale or anything like that? I certainly was not expecting that anytime soon. So, we got some pretty awesome stuff. Also some really great master grades as well, like the 2.0 F91. That was a really nice one. The Barbatos is fantastic. I really am looking forward to finishing painting that. I'm really bummed about my compressor not working, but anyway, because of the holidays and everything, I've been so busy. Anyway, I'm not sure how much I really would have got done with that, but still would have been nice to be able to make some more progress on that. Being interested, Frank asked, being interested in philosophies and philosophy, I see your nick, I think it's nickname, corresponds to Marcus Aurelius. Do you follow his vision, and how well do they work? for you having your lifestyle. Yeah, Frank. Yes, to answer your question, I'm a big Marcus Aurelius fan. I wouldn't say that I'm. I don't know. It's kind of a hard one to answer. I wouldn't say that I'm living a stoic lifestyle, because I'm not exactly sure what that would mean in kind of modern age. I think it's very I don't know how to say. Anyway, yes, I do enjoy studying Stoicism, and I do uh, feel like that it's the philosophy for me. And yes, I do try to keep in mind the tenets of Stoic philosophy. That said, I think it's a very, and probably like a lot of different philosophies, probably not only Stoicism, but it's hard to live a Stoic life, as a lot's changed in 2,000 years. And so I think just in our modern world, it's kind of hard to be the same kind of Stoic. Well, and obviously Marcus Aurelius was a very different case, being emperor and all. But I think comparing more to someone like Seneca, for example, which would maybe be a little bit more in line to just like the normal person being a Stoic. It's a little bit harder to do. It's a little bit harder to live that sort of life these days. But that said, of course, yeah, there's still plenty of aspects of the philosophy that you can adapt or kind of just like try to follow in your day-to-day life. And so yes, I do try to keep the teachings of people like Marcus Aurelius in mind when I can. Things like, and actually, the reason why it always feels kind of awkward to talk about is because one of the teachings and I want to say this was not Seneca, but Epictetus, I believe, in Epictetus an Epictetus book, if I remember correctly. One of the things that really stuck with me was that it's important not to teach other people about Stoicism, but because then that kind of assumes that what it like, that you're a master of it. And it's such like a difficult thing to master that like even the masters wouldn't feel like they're masters of it. So like his point was that you shouldn't try to teach people about Stoicism. You should just live your life in accordance to nature is kind of the big thing that Marcus Aurelius especially kind of put a name to, was just living in accordance to nature, which is just doesn't mean like going out and living outside in the wild. In nature, living in accordance to nature means living with what happens in your life naturally, if that makes sense. So like, for example, you get sick. That's just nature. You have to live with that. So yes, you should just live in accordance to nature and just living by other tenets of Stoicism, understanding what's in your control and things like this. And by living a Stoic lifestyle, then in that way you're kind of teaching people by example, in a way that it's not something that you should necessarily actively try to teach people. You shouldn't attempt to be a teacher of Stoic philosophy. So I'm kind of breaking that a little bit now just to explain the point, but yes, when I read that, and that really kind of stuck with me, and I kind of keep that in mind a lot when it comes to answering questions about philosophy. That I don't want to teach anyone about it, but I do recommend that you, if you're interested, look into it from some of the who I would say are more masters than I. Marcus Aurelius obviously being one, as I mentioned, Seneca, Epictetus being a couple of the other most notable ones. And unfortunately, it's just some of the very few texts that, again, survived, as much of the original teachings, texts of Stoicism was all destroyed. So there's the big, giant, bulky legs. I do like how this armor just kind of stacked up armor parts here around the legs. It definitely looks like it's someone's kit bash. It's kind of interesting. So I like that. Let's see. Icarus Skybound making a good point there. I don't understand the thrust system on its back. Yeah, it's just kind of thrusting everywhere. Yeah, you would think like with three kind of thrusters, they're kind of like pushed into each other a little bit too much, but going in the opposite direction. But all right. So let's see. Well, thank you, Frank. Yeah. So, yes, in short, I would definitely consider myself a follower of Stoic philosophy, as best as it can be applied to modern day life. As best as I can, as much as I can, being human. Alright, let's see. So we're going to build the big red arm first before we build the regular arm. And so we got these parts here. Here and here. Like that. And this one here. Alright, then let's see, we need this tiny little guy here. To which parts? There and here. And here and here. And that one there. How's this meant to go? Which way? This way. Here and there. Then that folds up. I'm looking forward to the set, just the custom set that you can build with this. So here's the hand. Basically, you have just the Middle three fingers is just all one piece, and then the two side fingers is all one piece. But it looks like you can cut this in the middle to make them separated. So I'll show that in the review. I won't do it now because I want to be able to show that in the review that it's all one piece, and we'll just cut it and try that during the review. But it's just like a kind of a front skirt, how it's got the separate ball joints there, but it's just all connected. So you should be able to cut that, and then at least the two fingers can move on their own. The middle three fingers though are going to be a little bit more tricky because you'll definitely have to do more modification to get those to move at all. But and then just the fact that you just have hollow spaces all throughout here is a little bit disappointing, of course. But that is going to be our big red arm. It's very long. It's pretty crazy looking. The poor cursed HG hollow fingers. Yes. Sad, unfortunate. Okay, and now for the regular arm. This one should be pretty straightforward as like a pretty standard HG style arm, but it is a little bit unique, it seems like. That needs to be like that, and yeah, this part, it's kind of interesting how they have these parts that look just like polycaps, but they're not polycaps because they didn't want, I guess, didn't want to use a different polycap runner because maybe it didn't really need a full different polycap runner. Just needed a couple of similar ones, so they just made them just as regular parts. Okay. So there's that. Kind of interesting. And our shoulder part. Then built around that, and then this part fits over the top. So no seam line on the shoulder armor here, that's good. Like that, and then oh, oops, shoot. That was supposed to be a polycap. There's another part here that looks just like a polycap. So I guess maybe it doesn't really matter because it still fit in there. So maybe it doesn't matter too much, but there's another part, lower part on the arm where that piece was supposed to go. I'd take the whole thing apart once again. Oh yeah, it's like really tight, so maybe it'd be better as a polycap there. Oof, I don't want to break this, pulling this off now too. So don't be like me, pay attention when you're putting this part on here. You have that just regular plastic piece, so I guess it's all plastic, but just a regular piece, and then a polycap, which look pretty much identical. But up here in the shoulder, the top of the arm, that's the polycap, and the lower arm is the other piece. So, okay, let's put this back together. Like that, there we go. And the shoulder. Shoulder piece, shoulder piece. Shoulder armor piece, and then for this joint, that part goes on here and goes into the forearm here and here. And we're meant to turn the page, but I think I can figure it out from here. That's kind of odd. Alright. tab there and our hand. And there we go. There we are. So here on the forearm, the seam line at the back of the arm is covered up by this piece. On the front, you have a seam line there, but it's made as a panel line, so you don't need to worry about that. On the side of the top of the arm too, that's made as a panel line, so you don't need to worry about that. And then the shoulder, there's no seam line there, so seam lines are all covered there on the arm. That's good. On the big arm also, the seam lines are all kind of between these piping parts and everything, so you kind of don't really need to worry too much about those either, it looks like. So seam lines are going to be pretty minimal. On the back of the thighs, you did have a seam line here. Now it's interesting, on the front of the thigh, it's made as a panel line, so you don't need to worry about that, except for kind of that lower part there maybe. But on the back, they didn't make it as a panel line. There's just a regular seam line there, unfortunately. So that is the Gundam. But we do, of course, have then some weapons here to build. Of course, the big lance is cool, but I'm also interested in the other, what was it? Destro cannon something. Also looked pretty interesting. Let's see. Saka, what is your best 1 in 44 scale recommendation? 1 in 44 scale recommendation. I don't know, there's a lot. There's so many 1 in 44 scale kits, because then are you talking like just HG, or are you also including RG in our list, or what? It's kind of not an easy one to answer. Sorry. Actually, this I don't know if it really makes a difference here. Maybe not. That just goes together like that. And there's the lance, so the handle can slide in and out like that, and that's pretty simple. Of course, we got seam lines down the middle of that. Then this one here, we're also going to have some seam lines on this one, of course. So that's going in here, and then this handle part, I can't really see that very well. Handle in there. That part up there. Close that up. Aged Pasta said, in terms of aesthetics, do you prefer the Model Comprehend HG Penelope or the Bandai HG Penelope? Let's one. I haven't seen the Model Comprehend Penelope in a long time, so I would kind of need a refresher. But if I had to guess, I would say probably the Bandai one. The Model Comprehend kits tend to be a little bit overly detailed for me, or not overly detailed, but like just the style of the details aren't really often to my taste. So let's see. These are supposed to be the beam saber handles, right? But we don't have any beam effect parts with this kit, strangely. So for this particular kit, are these just meant to be little beam cannons in there, beam emitters, I guess, if you will. So that's there. So here and here. Here, build that little mechanical arm like that. And this part is for the backpack. Let's see. Plugs into there, which plugs in up over his on his backpack there like that. Pretty cool how the lance stores on the back like that. And these parts go into here, there and there. See, I feel like a lot of people put we're just seeing a lot of emphasis of this kit on the big arm and the big lance, but this shield actually looks pretty cool as well, I gotta say. How it's kind of got this extended arm that it's on, and the big cannon that folds out with the little handle and everything here for that. So that's pretty cool. I actually quite like that as a weapon itself. Unfortunately, you wouldn't be able, or would you be able to build it the reverse way as well? It does have the same holes on the opposite side, but the shield, this part would be different. You would need the reverse version of that. So let me just try it just to make sure here. Yeah, you would have to do it kind of weird, like that wouldn't really work. Do it like that. Be kind of goofy. I guess you could do it like that anyway. It's kind of strange. Anyway, that is it for the Seltsam. So let me see, how did this plug onto there? Like this. And just plugs onto here on the backpack as well. Like that, there we go. And this little piece is just a backpack adapter, right? This backpack adapter for plugging the weapons onto the back of a different Gundam, if you prefer. So that's a wrap for this guy. You do have a couple of leftover parts here. One of them being, hang on. One of the leftover parts is just a thruster belt, which could be useful. The other leftover part here is a rifle support hand, which we don't have any rifle for this, so it's not used. But you have this rifle support hand or a beam saber holding hand. Can this hold the beam sabers here on the inside of the shield? I'm wondering. Let's see. It's kind of hard to get out without taking this apart, it looks like. Hard to get those out of there. But let's see. It looks a little bit different, so maybe not. Yeah. The hand looks like it's meant to hold the kind of like really large beam, like the mega, what are they called? Mega beam sabers or whatever, that like the Double Zeta something uses. The kind of, or like the Rizel, the really huge ones. So they got to have the special holding hand for that because the handle's so large. This one looks like one of those. So I guess maybe we might see this in use for the regular Mark III or something. But anyway, so you got a couple of leftover parts there, and that's it. Off you go. Oops. Okay. And we can move on to the Eldora Brute. Sorry for smashing the camera there. Zen asks, do you think the mega size kits are worth $120? Mega size kits worth $120? It depends on which kit. The unicorn maybe. The other ones maybe not as much. I don't know. $120 is a lot for mega size kit, and I guess I don't know. In America or like abroad, then that's probably a pretty standard price. Here you can get them all for less than 100, so I guess it's a little bit different for me. But yeah, in the U.S. it's going to be a little bit more expensive because, as I mentioned in past Gunpla talk or live stream, whatever, I don't know when I mentioned it, but I got recently the mega size unicorn kit for like $70 and mega size RX-78 for like $50, so very cheap. But yeah, I'm probably not gonna find those kits for anything like that in the US. Alright, so Eldora Brute time now, and I think I'm gonna go grab some water here. Very throat's very dry, hurting, I think, because all the wood dust and stuff it's been in here from doing that stuff. Yeah, let me grab some water. Wait a minute. That's better. Oh, that's strange. Let me see here. That's okay. Alright. Revan, I'm back. You don't need to post your backlog. Okay. So now I've already built this torso essentially before. That's not right. So it should be pretty familiar and pretty simple, but let's see. We got this part here in the center, in the front and back half of that. Winged Wolf asks, so did you ever build the RE100 Gundam Mark III? No, the RE100 Gundam Mark III is one of the very few RE100 kits that I've not yet built. I'm just not really, there's just a lot of aspects of the design that I just don't really like. So that's why I've never gotten to building that one. If I could mention a few things about the design that I don't like, but I think would be easier with a photo reference if I could show a photo at the same time. I can maybe talk about it a little bit easier, but yeah, there's just a lot of aspects of the design that I just don't really care for. And how I have these parts separated. is that I have the torso and skirt I'm going to build at the same time here. We got a sticker here on the front of the chest, sticker number 5. Which goes here in the center. Like that. Okay. And the waist section. Which goes like this. We've got this part here. And this part here on the back. Needs to plug into there. Oi. Huh? No. Into there. Like that. Then down onto here. Happy birthday, Tristan. Apparently, it's Tristan's birthday. Happy birthday. These side skirts, not too into these side skirts just being plugged on just polystyrene and polystyrene there without any polycaps. Seems like that could get kind of loose. This front skirt part here, is that all? Yeah, just plugs together like that. There we go. Let's build the head next so we can just pop that on. We got the same eye setup, same eye stickers essentially as with the original kit. One and two. Is the inner frame with MGs made of polystyrene or ABS plastic? It depends on which Winged Wolf. It depends on which MG. Many of the MGs do use at least some ABS on the inner frame, but not all of them. There's the where's the head construction here? Building this out of order, I keep having to flip back and forth in the instructions. Alright, so bottom half of the head all goes together normally, and the top half is a little bit different. Kind of interesting how the antenna on the top is like a little bit hooked to the front instead of hooked to the back, like you would normally think a kind of the regular Xeon Commander antennas go up and to the back. This one goes up and forward. And a couple more stickers here on top of the head. Would be cool to paint one of these up and do it and just sand down the detail there for the kind of little sticker places where you're supposed to put the little eyes there, kind of on the top of the head, and put just Machining Krieger eye decals on there instead. Would be kind of cool. So there's the body. Then let's build the arms first, I guess, since they're next to the manual. Don't need to switch back and forth again. Let's see. Building one of the arms here first. Uh-oh. There we go. Alright. So, got this part here. So if the inner frame of the MG is usually polystyrene, and the fact that MGs don't use polycaps these days, or very few, is the armor on the frame an issue? No, usually not. Winged Wolf, usually a connection there is not a problem. As far as MG kits using either polystyrene or ABS plastic, I've never really had an issue either one way or the other. So it's never really mattered too much, at least in my experience, from the kits that I've built, whether the kit was polystyrene or ABS or whatever. So there's that spiky shoulder. Yeah, the Gunnerzaku, yes, is a notable example that doesn't use polycaps. At least a recent example. Where's this part? There we are. For inside the arm. Then this part goes up onto the back. There. Then we'll close up the front and back. And the sides. And he's got a little spike on the back of the elbow too. And the upper arm should slide down over that. Thank you very much. And the hand, we've got a couple of... Why is this here? Oh, that should be like this for a shoulder connection. That's right. Forgot the weird shoulder connection that this has. That there, and like that. Okay. And our hand. Wait. Oh, got the wrong hand cover here. So we'll just use the open hand for now. No, it's not radically different quite yet, but obviously it's got more spiky stuff going on than the original kit. Very strange. So hard to say too. Yeah, at this point, which version of the design I like more. I do kind of like some aspects of this. It's a pretty cool take on the design. That said, I do really love the original as well. So I don't know, kind of pros and cons. The spikes on the shoulder are interesting addition. I think that is a little bit more in line with it being essentially like a Zaku clone, sort of. Having some spikes on the shoulders does kind of make sense. Oops. Oops. That's upside down. That's not going to work. Should pay attention to what you're doing, everyone. So as for next week, I don't know if I don't think I mentioned this. I don't think I have mentioned this live anywhere or to you guys yet, but a solution has been found to my compressor problem, and I've got a new compressor on the way. Very happy to, I guess, sort of announce. I don't know how much of a announcement it really is, but happy to announce that I'm getting a new compressor thanks to the folks at Sparmax. So I'll be using that compressor, and really looking forward to that. But they're not sending that out for a few days yet, so they're going to be sending that out next week, and then that'll take probably a couple days, probably a few days, maybe up to a week for that to even get to me. So I probably won't have a new working compressor until probably the middle of the month or late in January, unfortunately. But the new compressor is coming, and it's an awesome compressor, so I'm really looking forward to it. But it is going to take a little while yet. But that said, as I mentioned, I just kind of want to use this time to get caught up on some kits that I've needed to build and review. And also there's some different like smaller little hand painting projects and things that I've been meaning to work on. So my point is, I want to talk a little bit about what I have planned for next week. And on Monday, I'm thinking that Monday morning there will be another live stream build, possibly of a Hasegawa Macross kit, or I'll put it to you guys here. Okay. Little kit avalanche over here. Oh, actually no. Okay. Well, here. Monday morning we'll have a short live stream, just building the Mudrock Gundam. So that'll be on Monday morning. We'll build that guy, and then Monday afternoon I'll work on a new news video for you guys, new Zaku news video and updates video, because I didn't do one last week because of the holidays. It's supposed to be this past Monday. I'm doing those every other Monday, as you guys may be aware of. And yeah, it's supposed to be last Monday, but because of the holidays I didn't do that, so this coming Monday after this weekend will be a new news video, and there's lots of news to talk about. So Monday morning, which is my Monday morning, I should say. It's Monday, it'll be Sunday evening for you guys, is when I'll live stream build the Mudrock, then have the news video, and then later on in the week, here is the choice. Later on in the week, we'll do a live stream of which of these kits would you guys like to see a live stream build of. Maybe we'll try to do both, I guess. But which one would you guys like to see first? Figure Eyes Labo Miku, or the Hasegawa Macross, what is this? The Batroid production type. Oh, it's not Hasegawa, it's Wave, sorry. Wave. Macross or Miku? Guys, place your votes now. Which one would you like to see? live build probably Wednesday of next week, Tuesday evening in the States. Wednesday morning for me. Which one do you guys want to see first? Miku or Macross? Let's see. Miku, Macross, Miku, Macross, the girl box, Macross, Miku. It's pretty mixed. Figure Eyes Asuna. Revan, I should say I'm not going to build the Asuna kit, so that's not an option, sorry. I don't know. Whew, seems pretty mixed between the two of them, so... Lewis says Dugram. Yes, the Dugram... Oh, sorry, that's... Lee said Dugram. Yes, the Dugram kit is also in my to-do list there, but probably not next week, maybe the week after that. Okay, well, that was a lot more mixed than I was expected, so I'll put a poll up next week. I'll put a poll on my YouTube channel, a community page, and you guys can vote there, because that was a little bit too mixed for me. I'm going to live stream build both of them probably next week anyway, but yeah. I want to say, just from looking there, it looks like there was maybe a slight edge to Miku, but there was a lot of Macross votes in there as well, so I don't know. I'll put a poll up, then we can know for sure. It doesn't really matter, but just for the fun of it, I'll have that for you guys next week. But first is going to be the Mudrock we'll build on Monday morning. So let's get to the legs here. So we've got 4 of these legs to build. So hopefully after building the first one here, it should be easy. Or I guess first 2. We'll make them both at the same time. So I've got them separated, building 2 and then 2 more. So we'll build the first 2 here, and then the second 2 should be much easier, quicker to go together after that. So then we've got these parts. Which one of these do I need? This one. Like that. And then here. And here. Okay. That works. Yeah. The Mudrock kit does look really cool. I am looking forward to that. Let's see. Yeah, on Twitch as well, it looks pretty mixed between the Macross kit or the Miku kit. I've also should point out that I have not ever built a Macross kit before, so it's going to be my very first one ever building. And I like this one because it's a really simple design, being just the production type. I like that it's not quite as like flashy as some of the other ones. Not as like colorful and all that. So Jagan asked, did you feel that the RG new Gundam's neck was too long? It looks like a giraffe. I don't remember feeling like that, so I don't think so. I didn't notice that. Alright, then our feet parts here. Like that, and like that, and like that. like that. And the joint in there. Here. Oh. No, this one. Here. And here. And here. Like that. Okay. Semi asks, have you built any Kotobukiya or Bandai Eva kits? I've built both, kind of. I haven't built any of the modern Bandai Eva kits. So I've only built, I think just the one. Really old mass production type kit, which is actually that's one of my works in progress here, like long time work in progress builds that's kind of around that I work on a little bit every now and then. So I haven't yet built one of the more recent Bandai Evangelion kits, but I have built one? I think just the one of the Kotobukiya kits. I built the Evangelion 13 kit, not the white version, just the regular original version of that, and reviewed that ages ago. So that review is here on my channel if you want to check that out. But I've been meaning to build one of the newer Eva kits from Bandai. And Common Astartes, thank you for your contribution. Here, I really hope that the build divers fight Eldora Devil Gundam, mainly because I want to see it updated. I can almost picture it. Happy New Year's. Well, Happy New Year's to you. Thank you. That would be awesome to see some new version of the Devil Gundam. I'm not sure if you've seen, but I recently got the old Devil Gundam kit. Recently picked that up, and I think that's going to be a very interesting build. But yeah, seeing some sort of new version of that would be pretty cool. And that just goes onto there like that, and I think that's done. Let's put together this other leg here. Then we've got two more to do. I'm used to sometimes having to build like more than one set of like arms and legs, because sometimes I'll build two kits at once. Two of the same kit. Like for example, the Master Grade Hazel 2, which I need to review as soon as my review space here is up and running again. The Master Grade Hazel 2, I bought two of that kit, so I built two at the same time. And like the Wound War, for example, I built a couple of those at the same time. But that's like two of the same kit. In this case, we're building multiple. We're building 4 legs, but all for one kit, so it's kind of a little bit different. Just feels like I'm building 2 of this kit, but only building 1. So there's 2 legs. Let's build the other 2. Luke asked, what types of metallic paint do you recommend for ABS plastic, specifically for the MG00 kits? I'm not sure about that, because I'm not a big user of metallic paints. But as I mentioned before, when it comes to ABS, I've never had any issues with it. I think you just have to be careful with it. So I think, whatever metallic paints you want to use should be fine. Just be careful with it. Because also once my kits are painted, I don't really move them much. So I think if you're the kind of person who wants to paint the kit and then move it a bunch and changing the pose and doing all sorts of stuff with it like that, then that's probably where you're gonna run into more problems with it having an ABS frame. But in my case, I'm just worried about painting it and putting it together and then never touching it again. So I've not really had. That said, I have had parts break. Once or twice, I've had an ABS part break on me. But it was not on a master grade actually. One that I can remember was on the high grade. What was that? High grade HGOG. The HGC HGOG kit. I broke a part of that. That was an ABS part of its arm. But otherwise, I don't know if anyone else in the chat, if you know more about metallic paints on ABS plastic, feel free to answer that question. I don't really know a whole lot about that. Julius says, I have something I want to give you. Do you have a PO box that I can send some Gundam related items to? Julius, I appreciate that. I don't have a PO box now. I have used one in the past, but it's not one that I maintain continuously. I just kind of use it temporarily. But if you want to send something, just send me a message, preferably to my Facebook page, just a private message there, and I'll let you know where you can send that. Julius, if you don't use Facebook, then like Instagram private message or something, some way to send me a private message, we can sort that out. Winged Wolf asked, how do you not get model building fatigue? That's a whole topic that I think I should probably get around to making a video about that, about just kind of burnout in general. I've been meaning to make a video about that and just keep not really getting around to it. But essentially, if you watched Winged Wolf, if you watched my last interview with Lincoln, if I remember correctly, we talked about this a little bit during the stream, during our interview, like later on in the interview when we were answering some questions. But essentially, I don't know. I just like buildings, so I just have never really had a problem with just building stuff because I just like it. So the other thing, of course, that makes it easier in my case is that I have a lot of stuff to build, so there's lots of options if I feel like building one thing or another. And aside from there being lots of options, there's also just a lot of, I want to say pressure, but I don't mean that in a negative way at all. Like, there's pressure that I feel like I've got all this stuff to build that I want to build. So it's not like I feel pressure in a negative way, like, oh no, I've got to build all this stuff or whatever. I want to build all this stuff. So it's like positive pressure. Like, I want to build more and more. So the only way I'm going to be able to get to building more and more is if I just keep building more and more. So I enjoy building stuff, and building stuff allows me to keep building more stuff. So I don't know. There's maybe some times, I guess, when I don't really feel like doing something in particular. And so I'll just wait, I guess, and do something else in the meantime. And then when I feel like doing that thing that I didn't feel like doing before, then I'll just do it later when I feel like doing it. So I think it's just important to just not really worry about that too much. You know, if you're enjoying building, then you're enjoying building. If you're enjoying doing something else, then I wouldn't worry about the fact that you're not building more. Say people getting kind of worried about like, I've been burnt out for so long. It's like, well, if you were enjoying doing your, instead of building models, if you have been just doing like playing a bunch of video games, for example, like Alex is doing. I've talked with Alex a little bit about this. He hasn't built anything for a long time, but he's been spending more time like playing games and stuff. Video games, for example. And so like, if that's the case, if you're like that, like I've told him, if you're having fun doing that, then I wouldn't worry about it. Wouldn't worry like, I've been burnt out for so long, haven't built anything. But if you've had fun doing something else, then what does it matter? The point is that you're having fun doing whatever it is that you're doing. So if you are like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't even know if I want to get into that. But if you were, for example, like chronically depressed and building model kits was like really therapeutic for you, and you were having a hard time getting into doing that, then like it would be a little bit different answer for that question. Because then I think it would be, I don't know, more, I don't know, urgent, not urgent, but it would be important to find something to kind of it'd be more important to find out the reason why you weren't building, and maybe some alternative to that, or finding a little bit more about actually kind of what's going on with you and why you're not building, whatever. But as long as it's not anything like that, then I just wouldn't worry about it too much. Poco asks, Zach, do you play any games? I used to, but I don't really play games these days. Have you seen my upload schedule? And do you know that I have a wife and 2 young kids? I don't have any time to play games. Sorry to say. Uh-oh. Ah, no, that's right. Okay. Alright, so this is the legs of the original kit, but it's just the backpack, as it says for this kit. But it would appear to me that you do have all the parts to make the legs from the original kit. Bex Dorna said play games together with him. Yes, actually my son tried Mario Kart. Last time Alex came over here to visit, he brought his Switch, and my son tried playing Mario Kart on there, and I really quite enjoyed it. So yes, I think obviously as they're getting a little bit older, we can play some games together. Certainly. But as they are, my son is 4, and my daughter is about to turn 2. So they're not exactly, able to really get too into playing games quite yet. But that said, with my son, for a 4-year-old, I was really surprised at like how well he was doing when he was playing Mario Kart. Like, he wasn't like winning by any means, but the fact that he was just like following the course and everything, it was pretty amazing actually. All right. This part here like was the cannons which replaced the feet of the original kit. It's a little bit weird putting these parts together. It doesn't look like the parts are pushed together all the way, but apparently that is how it's supposed to be. Just looking, it shows you there in the manual how it's supposed to look, and it looks right like that according to the manual. But if I didn't have that illustration in the manual, I would be spending a lot more time looking at this thinking, well, what's not pushed together right? Because it doesn't look like it's correct as it is. Ramat, hey Zaku, you gain weight. Yeah, since when? I have gained weight. Over time, but yeah, like since when? Speedball Haro said, "Hey Zakurilius, besides Bandai and Kotobukiya kits, have you ever considered building a Transformers Flame Toy Furai model kits?" Not really, except for one of them does look pretty cool. I think it was Thundercracker. Is that right? Is that right? Uh, that one I thought did look pretty cool, and I was thinking about maybe possibly building that one. Is that right? Let me see. Yeah, right? Isn't there's the Thundercracker kit, right? Zan asked, let's say I ordered something from USA Gundam Store, how much would the shipping cost to Texas? I don't know about that, honestly. Sorry, I couldn't say. And it depends on what you order, I would imagine. Amatsuo, you still teaching English, or did you move to Florida? No, I'm not teaching English, and no, I haven't moved to Florida yet. I stopped teaching now 2 months ago, and I'm moving to Florida probably in about a year or so. So I'm just here in Korea, just doing this. Let's see. To answer your question about the shipping fee, Lee says it's $9 flat rate. So there you go. Yeah, my son's interest is only going to increase. Yeah. Zanzan asked, "Is there any way I can DM you privately?" Yeah, you can. You can. You can privately instant message me on through my Facebook page would be the best way, or Instagram. Over there on Facebook, Daj, how are you? Happy New Year to you as well. Miss you guys there in the Philippines. I'm hoping to visit the Philippines again sometime. The next year would be cool before I move back to America. But hope to get back to the Philippines to visit some bros down there. So, hello to you, and say hello to everyone there. So anyway, yeah, on the topic of my son's interest growing, it was kind of interesting. Whilst we were on vacation earlier this week, we were on vacation for a few days in Busan. Here in Korea, Busan is the second largest city in Korea after Seoul. And so we were on vacation for a couple of days in Busan, and while we were there, we went to Gundam base. There's a Gundam base there in Busan, and I didn't really particularly need anything, but the reason why we went was because I have for ordering stuff here in Korea, I typically use the Gundam base website, which is like Bandai's official online store here in Korea, where we have like the P Bandai Korea and all of that. But yeah, so the Gundam base stores are connected to that website. It's all Bandai's official stores here in Korea, and you get coupons and stuff, of course, from like using the website and using the app. And sometimes the coupons are offline coupons that you have to use in the stores, and there's not one here where I live. So if we're going to a city that has a Gundam base, I like to stop in just to use it, because I usually have one or two offline coupons in my account and just normally can't use them here. So when we go to a city that has a Gundam base, I like to stop in there to just use that coupon, because it's usually like a 20% or 30% off coupon, something like that, off just one item. So we went there in Busan, and while I was in the store looking around for something to buy, my wife and kids were waiting. They were just waiting just out in front of the store, and there's a big TV in front of the store playing the Build Divers Re-Rise animation. And so my son was watching that, and so I came out, and it was actually, interestingly, it was the fight between the Earth 3 Gundam, right? Earth 3 Gundam and the Eldora Brute. So that my son was watching that, and he was really into it. He was saying like, "Wow, Gundam's really amazing! Like that's really cool." So I thought, all right, yeah, he's starting to get into it now. So that was funny. So yes, he's gotten a taste of some of the Gundam animation now. Alright, so then these legs plug onto the center part here. And then the body gonna plug down. So see, on the hips you have the connectors here, and yeah, in the spare parts it looks like you have everything there to make the regular legs for this, if you wanted to make just a two-legged version. And then this part is going to be connected up here on the back, and the legs just plug into there, and there you go. Easy as that. We do still have the, what is it called? Tetradent? Oh, Amatsuo says it's missing the feet. Ah, is it missing parts for the feet? Oh yeah, it is, isn't it? That's a good point. Yes. So you don't have the original feet. But can you use these mini feet here? With that? You do, however, have the original rifle, which you can use with this, because you have the holding hand for that. So you could use that rifle if you want. Let's see, the Tetradent. Our last sticker is going to go in here. Henry asks, how articulated are the four hooves? They're pretty well articulated. I mean, the ankle is just on ball joints there, and then just the knee has a double joint there in the knee. At the top, there's just kind of a single joint there, and it can't rotate or anything at all. So just a single joint at the top, and then just a double joint at the knee there. So no rotation of the legs. So some rotation of the legs I think would have been nice. But yeah, we'll see. how well you can actually pose this and everything. I think it may be a little bit difficult to pose, getting some cool poses with this, but it does still have the same action base connector up under there, so you can still use it with an action base. So we'll try. We'll see what kind of different poses we can do with that. And this part goes where? Here, at the top of here. Like that. This part goes up underneath there. The worst part is the feet is the only thing missing. I really wish that they just let you choose. Yeah, it's strange when they do that. They sometimes do that, and they'll like give us a variation kit like this, and you have almost all the parts to make that, but it seems like they very intentionally just left out like 1 or 2 pieces that you need to make that, just so that you would still have to buy the original kit if you wanted to make the other different version of it, or something like that. And I don't necessarily think that it's like as malicious as it sounds like that, like that's on purpose like that. Because it probably is just more having to do with just the production costs, the plastic costs of, you know, the layout of the runners. They don't want to print that particular part of the runner because it's just unnecessary, so it's just kind of a waste of plastic, whatever. And if they can easily separate that part of the runner off, then they're going to do that. I imagine it's probably that's the case more so than they just want you to buy more kits. But I don't know, maybe it depends on the cat. I have to look at it more closely in more detail, but there it is. That's the Eldora Brutes, and there's the Tetradent. It's pretty cool. That is right? Tetradent, right? That's what it was called. Should be, yeah. So, all right, that is it for that guy. We're all done. So that's it for today. And so for now, yeah, I've got this weekend. I'm just gonna be working on, just as I mentioned before, getting my desk space all organized over there. I'll work on a work in progress video for the G40. A little bit more I want to do to the G40 before we get to painting that kit. So I will do a work in progress video for that. So plenty of working on that this weekend. And then Monday we'll live stream build the Mudrock, and we'll have a new news video. And lots of cool stuff to work on in the meantime. So thank you guys for hanging out. Thanks for watching. That's it for these 2 kits. Pretty cool. Pretty nice kits. So pretty impressed thus far with the Build Divers Re-Rise series. They definitely seem better than the Build Divers kits from my experience so far. So we'll see. Anyway, that's it for today, guys. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.